Hey, and welcome, Miss Kira Speaks. Thank you ever so kindly for clicking on the video. Please stick around till the end. Help me get these retention times up. Hit the subscribe button and share with your friends, and turn on those notifications cause YouTube gon' YouTube. We're here for another recap of the Real Housewives of Atlanta season 15 episode 8, Rollerstakes and Blind Dates. And before we get on into this recap, I just want to give a quick shout out to Belle Perspective over here on YouTube. Head on over to her channel and hit subscribe. We are all about showing appreciation here. Now, I'm not going to tell you, I'm going to make this short but sweet, because every time I do that, it don't happen. I get to run in my mouth, and so it takes what it takes. And Real Housewives of Atlanta is going to leave the shenanigans to the end of the episode, so am I. Anywho, we are opening the episode again with Drew. She's at home. Her daughter's just getting over being sick, and she's talking to one of her many hired helpers about her video. Play Drew Sidora Already Know. I don't want to say the name because last time I did, my sons went on and I had to stop the video and start all over. I don't know, Juice WRLD Already Know. And I said, oh, at first I said, is you know who coming with the shade? But she got it together. So the song plays and Drew is trying to show her dance moves, but for some reason she cannot hit her 8 count, and the moves is not moving. I said, what is going on, Drew? It was very much womp womp. So then when Ralph comes in, she tells him that her mom is coming on Monday and her sister Allison is coming on Wednesday. In her confessional, she shares that her sister managed her career starting at age 8, and she's been more of a second mom than a sister. Ralph, he doesn't know how to feel, and we find out that her sister stopped managing her career at the top of the panorama because she was having a mental health break. Now, I knew none of this, but I was super happy that they were delving into mental health, because to me, and it should be to all of us, mental health is super important. And I must say, I am forever grateful to those that checked in on me during the panorama, because we were all having a hard time of it. Her sister wasn't in any condition to handle the demands of Drew's career, so she backed out, and Drew agreed that it was more important for her to focus on her health. She talks about wanting to have more of a sister relationship with her, and Ralph chimes in and says that her sister has done a lot of things to hurt him, and that's why he banned them from their house. In her confessional, she says that the two butt heads, and that she, her sister, accused Ralph of being controlling and manipulative. Now, pause. Listen, my brother and I, we're not that close. And I don't have a husband, but if I did, he surely could not ban my sibling from our house. Now, some other folks, maybe. But that aside, Drew's sister was not wrong, and that is absolutely why they are currently going through this divorce. And we saw that back on the first season that Ralph and Drew came on the show on the very first episode. Drew, she's asking him what he needs, and then they kind of agree to take it one day at a time and to pray on it, because she wants to make sure that they're in a good and healthy place. And I'm just going to quickly throw this in here because I'm not putting this in, scene order. But Kandi and Todd are going over the script and they discuss the casting. Kandi doesn't want to be typecast, and Todd was considering using Drew as the wife. But Kandi says she doesn't really want to play opposite of her, but they are going to see if Drew is even open to any of it. Speaking of Drew, they are waiting for Allison, and she's running late. She discusses the video shoot with her mom, and she's excited. Production wraps at 10:30, and then 2 hours later, Allison arrives. In her confessional, Drew is saying that she's emotional and she's in her feelings because Ralph has gone on and went to bed, and that she wanted the support. But if you ask me, I feel like it's late, we old, and if that man is tired, I'd rather him go ahead and get his rest and start fresh in the morning than coming in there and being grumpy and ruining the mood. That's just my opinion. And then I'm not sure if it's the next day, but it's time for Drew's video shoot. So they're at a skating ring and she's invited the ladies. We see Courtney and Sonia, they come through, and then later we get Kenya and Monietta, and I'm not really sure why Kandi wasn't there. Drew says she was coming, but she never showed up and we never quite got a reason. Drew, you don't know how to skate, but you're going to skate in your video? This is what Sonia's saying. And then Drew says, she's been getting her lesson. And I don't know why these ladies are so hard on Drew this season. I'm going to say this season because other seasons I could totally understand. But Sonia's in her confessional and she's joking about, Drew getting hurt in Jamaica and now she's going to skate. Maybe she should be, try walking first. And then Kenya says it's giving her low budget Beyonce blow vibes. And personally, I take that. Monietta says she had her daughter's birthday party at a skating rink, and it was just like, to me, it was very unnecessary. But it's a reality show, so I guess we're going to throw a little shade where we can. And it was light, so I guess. Ralph is on the side, and he's talking to Allison about the shoot, and she's saying that it's her vision. And he says, so it was meant for you to be here. And then she starts to tear up, and Ralph gives her a hug. And Drew's mom cries, and all I wanted them to keep their minds on, like, this is a tender moment, and it's great. I felt a little weird about the meant to be here part, mentally health speaking, if you know, even though it was a tender moment, I want them to keep in mind, Allison is still right about Ralph. He says that he's appreciative of the support. He says that he's appreciative of the support that she's showing Drew, which is her sister, and why wouldn't she? And he thinks that they'll be okay. Drew comes over and she's happy, and she hopes that she and her sister will continue to be able to build. Now, Ashley Miller here on YouTube had reposted Drew's video, and I went and watched it, and it was pretty cute. I was like, okay, come on, Drew. Did you guys get a chance to see it? If you did, get down in the comments and let me know. We see Sheree, and she's working on baby items for her line. She by Sheree when she can't even get the people their regular items. Production asked her if she's made a lot of profit, and I said, messy, messy, messy. We know that the first year is rough for business, and Sheree looks like a deer caught in headlights. She says she's invested so much money into She by Sheree, so hopefully by the end of the year, she will be seeing that profit. She talks more about the business, and I really didn't care too much. Now, apparently she spoke to Kandi after the brunch about the two of them getting together and having a conversation, and she also followed it up with a text. So they're gonna talk some things out. So later, we do see her meet with Kandi. And now she told Kandi that they were going for a walk, and then shows up in a mink and some Louboutin. Meanwhile, Kandi's got on sneakers and sweats. I was like, ooh, Sheree, you're shady behind. They walk 2 paces and then they turn around and go sit down. And Sheree is asking about Marlo, and Kandi's like, yeah, I'm done with that. And Sheree's like, listen, all it took was a bucket of chicken last time. What about 2 buckets? And I said, child, that might have worked last time, but now that Kandi and I think it's Little Ace got them a KFC deal, we're gonna have to do a lot more than a bucket of chicken. They make a little small talk about Sheree's beautiful grandbaby, and then Sheree gets to Kandi speaking negatively on her business publicly. She says that Kandi has a huge platform, and when she speaks negatively on it, it affects folks' business. Sheree says that she supports her, and Kandi agrees, and Kandi feels that she has also been supportive. And never mind, I'm not gonna be on Team Kandi. I'm not gonna be on the Kandi train because I feel like I'm always bigging her up. But honestly, I do feel like Kandi shows all the girls support. That's just me personally, but we're gonna move on. Kandi feels like she didn't shade her business. Sheree insists her website did crash, which Kandi and the rest of us don't believe, but Sheree stutters as she tries to explain. Have you bought anything yet? Kandi's like, how, B? How? Sheree says she doesn't come to her for music advice, and she's not going to Kandi for fashion advice. And not fashion advice, but business advice, yes. And she has. Everything on the runway isn't for sale. And, there are different drops. And I was like, okay, Sheree. Kandi is saying that she's blaming her for putting out things that others were responsible for putting out. And Sheree brings up that Kandi did not pass her health inspection. And Kandi's like, that's been corrected. What about your site with the she by Shein? I said, oop. Sheree says she came to her restaurant with 12 people. They waited for hours and then they were out of half of the items. She never said anything publicly till now. Or that she bought something at Tags that she could only wear once. Kandi's like, she's a reseller and at least you can get it. Child, is that she by not Shein gonna wash any better? Kandi reminds her that they suggested that she get things that she could put her logo on, and she didn't want to do it. She claimed that she would never do that. People hold her to a higher standard. And ultimately, she turned around and did it anyway. Kandi says she doesn't want to argue. She understands her being upset, and perhaps she shouldn't have said those things about her business on a public platform, and she apologizes for that. Sheree accepts, but does not reciprocate. Now, like I said, I don't always want to be supporting Kandi, but it was nice that she apologized. But to me, when it comes to Sheree, it's giving me very, you can dish it, but you can't take it. You talk ish whenever you want, but the very moment somebody says something about you, it's a problem. And I'm like, okay, Sheree. So we see Marlo, and she's doing an Instagram live with some young ladies from her nonprofit organization, because she works with the foster children. And I mean, all of this is well and good, but it's like Marlo tears her ass and then they want to show us that she has a heart. And again, it's like, okay. Sonya comes in and the two of them chop it up, and they're talking again about this belt deal, about them, them carrying Mommy Nation. And Sonya says it hurts her that the Marlo that she knows, the other girls don't know. She says the group brings the old Marlo out. Now, Sonya, you don't know Marlo half as well as the rest of these ladies, and I think I've said that before. And clearly, you haven't watched the show either. Right now, again, in my opinion, Marlo is giving Sonya her representative. And the minute she feels like she's a threat, then it's over for Sonya too. Anyway, Marlo brings up Kandi and these doggone F them flowers, and how she interpreted it is that it meant F her nephew and her mom. The reach is long on this one. She wanted a sorry, but she's going to leave it alone. Thank you, Jesus. She tells Sonya that she's going on a blind date, and the only thing that she did find out is that he's Jamaican. And Sonya says that's just what she needs. Meanwhile, Sonya does not have a Jamaican husband. Okay, girl, and I'll pass. Sonya says she needs someone strong. In her confessional, Marlo, who loves to call the other ladies hookers and whores, is tired of them talking about her love life. No wonder Sonya and Marlo get along so well. She says no one has been in between her legs in over 4 years. It's hard to put her guard down, and the only dates that she's been on is with Michael and William. Now, that part about the dates, I don't believe. And while others are saying they understand why Marlo's been so cranky, as a fellow sister in abstinence, that's no reason to act cranky or a fool. Sonya's all excited and she wants her to ask questions. How much money does he make? How's your credit? Sonya was thinking more of, where are you from? What are your interests? I mean, listen, both of the ladies' sets of questions were actually important, so we'll see. So I tried to group everything together to leave Marlo's date till the end, and here we are. In the car ride headed to the date, she calls Sonia on the phone. Why haven't you called? I have anxiety. Sonia tells her she looks great. Don't worry about the ladies or the boys. Just be in the moment, have a good time. She says she hung out with some of the other ladies earlier and Marlo called her a traitor, and she meant it. She tells her that she went to Drew's music video shoot. Marlo says she wasn't invited, and so now she wants to call Drew and calls her fake. So just that she does. And Drew answers, and she's better than me because honestly, I wouldn't have picked up that call. Drew, she's still shooting her video and she's shocked that she called. Marlo says that she wanted to say congratulations and that she's nervous, and she tells her she's on the way to a blind date. Drew says she had to keep it real. Like, where did all this energy come from? She says she's owed an apology, and Marlo says she's sorry. And then Drew keeps talking, and Marlo says that she didn't know that she was that upset. She's from Florida and Drew's from Chicago, but maybe Florida is a little tougher. When Drew continues to speak, I guess, a little bit too much for Marlo, she hangs up on her and goes off. Your wig's a mess. You built like a square. Bad body. Your man don't want you. I'm like, damn, Marlo, and this is why we don't fool with you. Steady calling Drew fake. So now as they're pulling in, she's like, a first date at a strip mall. She gets inside and this man has a bouquet of beautiful flowers. And I mean, we're not talking grocery store flowers, like actually from a florist, like real flowers. Beautiful. So his name is Scott Lee and he actually owns the restaurant, which makes Marlo's tune change. And he wasn't too bad looking. Neither of them have been on a blind date. They talk about, he's from Jamaica and does he visit? And he said he visits every year and that he's going to visit, I think, for his birthday. And we find out that he's 39 years old. Marlo says he's young, but not too young. So then she asked him the question that we all would ask. Does he have kids? Yes, 3. A 15-year-old, check. A 2-year-old, and a 1-year-old. I said, yikes. And he was doing so good up until that point. She asked him if he's still with the mom, and he says no, or he wouldn't be there. In her confessional, Marlo says she didn't want to date anyone who had any kids under the age of 5. And with that, I have to agree. They be still messing with the mama, talking about they not together, but then the mama, she don't know. She got something else on her mind because they ain't tell her. She talks about her nephews, and then the food comes out. And again, we were doing good, and then he starts talking about the shrimp having a head on, and then he makes too many jokes or comments about the heads and yet again. Now he says that he was being funny. She asked him if he has any skeletons, and he's been locked up before. Now this makes Marlo happy, and she calls them twins, but they both agree that they're not going back there. And the reason she's happy is because now she doesn't have to worry about, the judgment and being judged for having a past and having been locked up before, because they're in a similar situation. They toast, and Marlo is pleased, and that is where we end. Now, I've heard that this guy is on Hell's Kitchen, which I don't watch, so hopefully he's actually there for Marlo and not for TV, and I've heard that they're still together, but I mean, does that really mean anything? I'm not gonna drag it now that I've finally caught up in time for tomorrow's new episode. Get down in the comments and leave me your thoughts, or just let me know that you stopped by. And join me back here for episode 9. Until then, peace.